Ethan Hale had wandered the desert for hours beyond what he could measure, the sun burning mercilessly above as every direction blurred into swaying waves of heat. Each step sinking into the sand like the land itself resisted him, and though he tried to stay calm, the creeping dread of being completely lost in an unforgiving wasteland tightened around his chest until the only sound he heard was the dry rasp of his own breath, until a sharp crack split the silence and something darted past his ear, a warning that sent him stumbling as figures emerged from behind scattered boulders, silhouettes moving with the grace and precision of predators, their braided hair swaying with each fluid step, leather garments decorated with beads and symbols, marking them as warriors of a tribe he did not know. And before he could raise his hands or speak, one of them swept his legs, forcing him to his knees while another bound his wrist tightly with rawhide. As dust settled around him, he looked up and saw her, a tall, commanding woman with long black hair crowned by a feathered headdress that shimmered beneath the burning sky, her eyes dark and sharp as volcanic glass, studying him with a mixture of caution and curiosity. And though she held a blade, something in her gaze seemed more analytical than cruel. She spoke to her warriors in a melodic, firm language he didn't understand before she gestured for them to lift him, guiding him across the shifting sands toward a hidden canyon, where torches lined wooden structures and smoke drifted from fires, the heartbeat of drums echoing through the settlement. As the tribe gathered around him, their voices rising in alarm and interest, until the woman stepped forward again and silenced them with a single gesture, her authority so absolute it seemed to ripple through the ground. She knelt before Ethan, lifted his chin, examined him closely, then said one word, "Outsider," before ordering him tied near the camp's edge, guarded but not mistreated. And as night fell, the tribe danced in circles around the fire, chanting ancient rhythms that vibrated through the cool desert air, the woman constantly watching him as though fate had placed him there deliberately. At dawn, the tribe gathered around a stone platform carved with symbols older than memory, and Ethan was brought forward again, his heart pounding as the queen, now painted with ceremonial markings, descended from the platform and circled him like a hawk reading the wind, then spoke in broken yet clearer English. "You walk into our land. Desert could take you." But it did not. Why? And though he tried explaining he was lost, she seemed unsatisfied, gesturing to the sky and the sand as she said, "Desert guides who it chooses," her tone hinting at a belief older than the tribe's own history. Then she lifted a carved wooden staff, touching its tip lightly to his chest, drawing a circle over his heart before lifting the staff to the sky as the tribe erupted into breathless murmurs. And when she spoke again, it felt like the canyon itself leaned in to listen. "I am Naya, queen of this tribe, keeper of our bloodline. Desert sends signs, and sometimes it sends what the tribe needs." Ethan barely had time to process before her voice hardened slightly and she stepped closer, saying, "Queen must choose an heir. Our future depends on it." And with a certainty that shook him to his core, she announced, "I choose you," sending shockwaves through the tribe, some cheering, some whispering in disbelief, while Ethan stood frozen, unable to comprehend how a simple lost hiker had suddenly been chosen by an entire people's fate. The queen ordered he be taken to a large shelter decorated with intricate beadwork and hides, reserved for someone important. And though his wrists were still loosely wrapped in rawhide, the bonds were symbolic now, not restraints but reminders of the decision that bound him to the tribe. When the queen entered the shelter moments later, removing her headdress with slow grace and revealing a youthful, striking strength beneath, she sat across from him and said, "You afraid, but strong. Desert choose strong." And though Ethan trembled, he asked, "What happens now?" To which she responded with calm finality, "You learn our ways. You live with tribe. You earn trust, and soon we speak of Heir," her voice firm yet not cruel, carrying the weight of duty passed down through generations. And when she left him alone, Ethan realized his life had changed. Forever, he had entered the desert as a wanderer, lost and forgotten by the world, but the desert had delivered him into the hands of a queen who believed his arrival was written in the land itself. As evening approached again, the camp prepared a ceremonial feast in his honor, fires blazing, drums echoing across the canyon, and while children decorated the pathways with painted stones and warriors sharpened spears with new respect in their eyes. Ethan felt a strange mixture of fear and destiny intertwining within him, as though he had stepped into a story, written long before he was born, one where the desert chose its own messengers, its own warriors, its own future. And as the queen approached him at sunset, her silhouette framed by flames, she held out her hand, not as a captor, not as a stranger, but as a leader offering him a place in a world he had stumbled into by accident yet could not escape. And Ethan realized that from the moment he crossed that invisible threshold in the sand, his fate had been claimed by the tribe, by their ancient laws, and by the queen whose gaze held the power of both storm and sanctuary. And though he feared what tomorrow would bring, a part of him knew that the desert had chosen him for a reason he had yet to understand. If you want to discover what happens next in this breathtaking tale of destiny, danger and desert magic, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell icon so you never miss the next chapter.